Hello, everybody. I'm just letting you all get logged on. Bear with me. It's really hot where I'm currently sitting, and I don't want to be here long. So I got a lot of information for you guys, a lot of updates. I'm still letting people in, so just bear with me. If you guys want to ask a question while I'm getting everybody logged in, and feel free to do so. We'll go from there. It's hot here. It's really hot, and I want to get out of where I'm at and up to elevation so I can get out of the heat. Hi, welcome to Wednesdays with Widget. I have no idea what today's date is. Don't laugh at me. Happy Wednesday, everybody. So, got a few things I want to talk about. And again, I'm still trying to let people in. I'm going to give you guys a heads up. We have a deadline coming upon us here by the end of this month. So, lots of things going on, lots of moving parts. Just want to give you guys a heads up. And I don't want to be out here too long. I know I'm complaining that it's hot. I'm at a golf course having lunch with family, and then we're going up to Lake Sabrina for the day. So I am in the High Sierras. Gonna get some fishing done today, hopefully, fingers crossed. But it's really hot down here in the valley, just so you guys all know. If you're coming up to the Sierra Nevada mountains, you want to be in the mountains, okay? Not down in the valley. It's hot down here and there's like no breeze, so it's very yuck. Okay, looks like we got quite a few people on, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. If you guys have questions, let me know. The most important thing that I could tell you is please know that we have a drop dead date by the end of this month where we have to notify our tenants of the extension with AB 832 and the additional protections that are offered for them for the 90 days. So you need to disclose to your tenant by the end of this month what their rights are. If you don't do that, you're not going to be able to evict them later. You're not going to be able to go after the money, yada, 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 yada. It's a catch-22. I know we've had to do this twice before. This is the third time we're having to do it from the pandemic, but we need to notify the tenants what their rights are by the end of this month. Okay, so that's number one that I want to make sure everybody's aware of. You have to do that by the end of this month. If you do not disclose to them what their rights are regarding the new assembly bill by the end of the month, it's going to make it extremely difficult for you to collect any monies. It's going to make it extremely difficult for you to evict later down the road for this time period. It's going to be bad. So you want to make sure that you're doing full disclosure and giving them their Tenant Protection Act extension of AB 832. No, we're now on AB 832. It's an extension of Senate Bill 91, which is an extension of AB 3088. And somebody shoot me, because if I get one more Senate bill number, I'm going to lose track. Okay, that's probably the limit of my brain. So trying to be funny, but please know you have to do something by the end of this month. Have to. It's mandated, meaning it's required by law. So required by law that you notify them of what their rights are. At the same time, it's a good time to serve a 15-day notice to pay rent or quit, and also get that COVID protection letter from them if they were affected by COVID. So I have 6 things I want to talk to you guys about. That was number 1, the most important. Please know you have a drop dead date by the end of this month to notify delinquent tenants of what their rights are with the extension of 90 days that we were given with AB 832. So very, very important you guys know that. Now I have updates for you guys, and I know we've been kind of looking for these updates. Don't shoot the messenger, because what I'm about to tell you isn't good news. Okay? I'm trying, folks, I'm trying. So most cases, still letting people in, sorry. Most cases, 96% of all cases filed in LA County are contested. Want me to say that again? 96% of all the cases filed in all of LA County are contested. Uncontested cases are few and far between, and they just don't exist right now. They're testing everything that we're doing. They're testing everything. Why? There's no case law, you guys. And until there's case law, guess what? They're going to keep throwing it at the wall to see if it sticks. So With that being said, please know that if you're in LA and we're hoping, fingers crossed, for an uncontested eviction, they're just not happening. What we're seeing is 96% of all cases filed in LA County are contested. Youch, okay? Youch. Here's another thing you need to know, and you need to know this. With all the legislation and the bills, it actually says in there that no attorney's fees will be awarded. It says it in AB 832. I read it specifically. You need to know that the courts are not awarding attorney's fees in the event that you go through an eviction. They're not awarding attorney's fees to you. They are only, they're giving you possession only. To go all the way through an eviction, they're not going to give you money. They're not going to give you attorney's fees. They're only going to give you possession. Period. End of report. Okay? So if you're thinking, while I'm in eviction, I'm going to go after all the money they owe me, stop. The judges aren't awarding it. They're only awarding possession right now. Okay? Please keep that in mind. Remember, our time to go after the money isn't until November of next year. So definitely something we want to keep in the loop and keep aware of. Jury trials are being set. Contested cases go to jury, right? They're being set for 6 to 12 months out for your first hearing date. Ouch. Please remember, we have several hearings before that even happens. We have settlement conference. We have exchanging documents, things like that. So I talked to somebody at the law firm I used to work at, and I was told that they had just seen a case come through that week where they set the trial for jury for July 22nd of 2022. Ouch. This is what we're up against, guys. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. Cash for keys looks better every day, okay? What else did I find out? Apply for the government benefits. It benefits both parties, okay? And some people look at it and go, oh, how does it benefit both parties? It does. If you really think about it, it gives tenants a chance to prepare for October when all these protections are gone. Okay. And we need them to stand on their own feet by this point because we've been carrying the weight of their load for 16 months. We don't need to wait any longer. Okay. But it also gives the landlord an opportunity to stop the financial bleeding. Okay. So just a couple things to think about there. The government benefits benefit both parties if you can get that done. I highly recommend it. Think about it from a tenant that's a slow payer, a late payer, or something like that. If all of a sudden the government comes in and brings them current on their rents, doesn't that give them a fresh, clean slate to start over with you again? Maybe you're not chasing the rents. Maybe you're working smarter, not harder. It does make it a little bit easy. If you have somebody that's has a credit on their account from late fees that were collected during COVID that legally we can't keep, you could give them a credit of prepaid rents on their accounts and try to correct them from being habitually late. Okay, so flip the script, if you will, there. If the tenant, hold on, let me read my own note a little better. I'm sorry. Prepare for 1021 and beyond. Okay. If everybody applies for the money, landlords are not being denied. Did you hear me? Landlords are not being denied for the funds. Tenants, however, can be denied. If you go through the process and your tenant goes through the process and it says that the tenant's application's been denied, contact your attorney immediately. Contact your attorney immediately. Most likely your tenant's application was denied because they defrauded. Okay, maybe they bought that car instead of paying you the rent. So if the tenant's application is denied, chances are you're going to have a really good argument in a court of law because your attorney is most likely going to argue, why do they get to stay there living there for free when they don't even qualify for the government program? What are they going to argue? How is that going to be contested? On what basis are they going to have legs to stand on? They were denied by a governmental agency. It's kind of golden, you guys. Pay attention, okay? Giving you little tidbits where I can. Another one, because it is really difficult for a tenant's attorney to argue why they were denied from a government program and why they shouldn't be evicted. Done, okay? I wanted to let you know that Fast Eviction Service wrote an article called The Takeaways from AB 832. All the information you really need to know about AB 832 is summed up in that article, and it's written pretty simply. So you may want to check out their website and read that article. It might put it all in perspective for you a little bit better. It worked for me. It helped me tremendously. Also, please take note, if you as a landlord have applied for the government funds, or you are going to apply for the government funds, do it yesterday. Stop waiting till tomorrow, okay? They're gonna run out of money. If they run out of money, screenshot that, and you need that, because we can't evict going forward until we prove that we applied for this money. So if they're out of money, you need that to show the judge so you can pursue with your eviction. I don't see another way that makes sense for this money to be repaid other than the government paying it. Hear me out. If we go the way that the law is written and don't participate in the government program, they owe 25% of the rent on or before September 30th. If they don't pay that on October 1st, we can start an eviction against them. Starting November 1st, we can go after the back rents that were owed during the protected period in the event we're not in an area that has additional tenant protections. Example, City of Los Angeles added 12 months, County of Los Angeles added 6 months, County of San Diego added 6 months. Okay, so aside from that, there's your numbers. For the most part, don't shoot the messenger. It's going to be April Fool's Day before we get our rights back, unless you're in the City of Los Angeles. You're going to have to give it another 6 months after April Fool's Day. So April Fool's Day is your 6-month protected period after the pandemic ends. Drop dead date. So that may, April Fools, here's your rent increase. April Fools, here's your notice to vacate with no reason why. April Fools. So it's April Fool's Day that we get most of our teeth back if it keeps going on the course that it is. Mind you, now we have a Delta variant and all this other stuff, and new outbreaks are happening, and I'm done, okay? I personally am done with COVID. I don't want to deal with it anymore. I've had enough. It's consumed 16 months of my life. I'm not about ready to go for round 2. If we have to do it, then that's what we have to do. But just know that this girl right here is about right here on her philometer of how much COVID I can handle in this brain. Okay. I'm sick of it. I'm fed up with it. I've had enough of it. I've had enough. Okay. And I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir, because I'm sure you guys are sick of it too. I saw a question come through, so let me see what that is. It's really hard for me to see my own screen. I will give you that article, Jay. Fast Evictions wrote an article. It's on their website. It's called The Takeaways from AB 832. And the reason why I'm telling you to read that is because it's written from an attorney. It's legal advice, and it says a lot of things I can't. Does that make sense? Trying to protect myself. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Because I am dying out here. It's hot. And it's really weird because I'm at a golf course doing a webinar, and I'm trying to show you guys the background of the golf course behind me. And I'm at the Sierras, and in front of me is a restaurant in air conditioning where people are sitting there eating their lunch and staring at me out the window. So I don't want to stay here for long if I don't have to. Here just because they can. Anybody have any questions? Anything for me? So just so that we're all on the same page, make sure you read Fast Evictions article on takeaways from AB 832. It's on their website under articles or knowledge or whatever. It's a great article. It gives a lot of information. If we have tenants that are not applying for the government program. We can give them a written letter telling them that we applied, here's our case number, and we need them to apply. They have 20 days. If they do not apply in 20 days, you most likely can start eviction on day 21. Okay, here comes questions. Good God, it's hot out here. What is the form due 731 to tenants? Is it in the AGLA website? Yes, it's the 832 disclosure. Do you remember when we first got AB 3088 and we had to notify the tenants of what their rights were? And then we had to do it again when we got Senate Bill 91. We had to notify the tenants of what their rights were. Now you're doing it for AB 832, notifying the tenants of what their rights are. So we've been doing this the entire time. We got another extension. So we have another bill that needs to be signed. That's all. Make sure you do it. But know that you're going to not be able to evict them for not payment unless you gave them this notice. Catch 22, right? God love our government. So what they're saying now is if you don't notify them of this, you can't evict them going forward. So do it. Just do it. If you have a tenant that is paying you on time, don't think that this is going to change them. It doesn't. Okay. We all have some of those tenants that have paid us throughout this entire pandemic period. Those are good tenants, folks. Anybody else have questions? And I'm only asking because it is really hot out here. I want to say, I don't know how hot it is where I am, but it's hot. A dead ringer should be, there's not many golfers behind me either. April, do I have you on? Do we have updates that we need to give people on the money?
I'm here, Patty, but I haven't received
and applying for the money.
I haven't received anything.
And just so everybody is aware, if you have a tenant that was at the property during the protected period, but they're no longer in possession, you can actually apply for them now. You can apply for the funds for any tenant that had delinquent rent during the COVID protected period. So if you had somebody living in there for the first 6 months and they didn't pay you and they got out and they're gone now, you can actually apply for the government money to get that money back. They don't have to currently be living in the unit for you to apply. So that's kind of changed a little bit too. So please know that you have that in your arsenal as well. And I don't think we have many money updates. I know we're starting to see money coming in. We have few questions about the money. So I try to utilize April on here while we have her, because she's a great asset to us in finding out how all this money works, explaining to us when to see these emails, to watch that they might go to junk mail. I mean, she's been a godsend throughout this, just chasing the money. God love her. How about September rent? Hold on. How about September rent? When do we apply for that? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see August. I'm out in the hot sun, so there's a weird glare. How about August, September rent? When do we apply for that? April, if you're on, let me know. But I'm pretty sure when you go through the protected period that they'll cover you if you apply now through the end of September. I'm pretty sure that they'll continue to cover you or continue to cut you a check as long as they have funds. They will cover rents until September 30th per April, and she is our money gal. And she is typing us answers probably because she's on the phone. Until all funds are exhausted. There you guys go. There's your answer. So they're not going to redistribute the funds to areas that are out of funding. So if you apply and it says they're out of funds, screenshot that, make sure you have the date on it, take a picture of it, embed it, because it's what's going to save your rear end going forward in the event that you need that. How can I get, okay, here I am getting a question. Hang on, folks. They will cover rents until 9/30 until the funds are exhausted. Thank you, April. How can I get a month-to-month tenant out in a rent-controlled property triplex in the city of Los Angeles due to a forthcoming sale. How much is relocation? How long do I have to wait? Are you sitting down? It depends, it depends, it depends. Okay. If you need to get them out for the sale of a property, it's not a good idea right now. It's better for us as landlords to sell that property tenant occupied and credit the buyer in case they have to evict them later. That way your sale isn't being held up, okay? Because let's face it, the way the real estate market is not going to continue to last this way, okay? It will make an adjustment, a change, crash and burn. You call it whatever you want. It can't keep going to the sky's the limit. The ceiling is going to burst, okay? When that happens, everything's going to come crumbling down. So the idea of selling now makes the most sense. You can sell your house now with the tenant in place and offer a credit to the buyer. We're seeing a lot of that going on. They're offering $5,000 or $10,000 in the event they have to evict once the protected period's over. If you have an open escrow, you can give the tenant a 30-day notice to terminate tenancy because the buyer intends on occupying the premises. However, in the event they don't get out, you start eviction. In the event your escrow falls apart, you no longer have an eviction case. You have to dismiss it and start over once you have a new buyer. We talked earlier about everything's being contested right now, and they could set a jury trial up to a year out. Ouch. We, the people, have lost our rights to a speedy trial. We, the people. Okay? So I don't want to mislead you. What you're up against is extremely difficult because you want to get a month-to-month tenant out in a rent-controlled property in a triplex in the city of LA due to a forthcoming sale. That's not a reason. How much is relocation? It depends. If they say that they're disabled or have children or a senior citizen, they qualify for like $22,000 that you have to pay them, and they could take up to a year to get out of the unit. Ouch. Plus you have to apply for HDIC LA's permit and go through their process to pay those relocation fees, and then you have to upload them to a trust account in so many days. So I want to say the city's application is $750 roughly, and your law firm will usually charge you $1,000 to fill out the application process for you. It's extensive paperwork, just so you understand. Fast Eviction said in LA County, there isn't anything they can send saying they have the 20 days to apply at housing. That's right. There's no formal document. It's a letter you can write. There's no formal document. There's no form you give to the tenant. You write them a letter saying, here is, I applied for the government funds. Here's my application number. I'm requesting that you please also apply to pay for the delinquent funds that are owed. No, there is no legal document. Remember, this just happened, forgive me, I may be inaccurate on the date, but I want to say it happened on June 28th. June 28th, we got AB 832. So with that being said, this law pretty much just happened, okay? Just say it. So there is no document for it. Nobody's created one, etc. Fast Eviction said in the county, there isn't anything they can send saying they have the 20 days. Absolutely true. LA County also passed an anti-harassment law. So they're trying to be very careful, and I agree with them. This new anti-harassment law is bullshit. Any advice for the city of LA? We have an MSC hearing tomorrow for pre-COVID owed rent. Squeeze your cheeks. That's my advice to you, and I'm squeezing them with you, baby. An MSC hearing is a motion to show cause. It's in the city of LA. Ouch, 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 ouch. I'm squeezing my cheeks and crossing my fingers, and I asked you to please update me on what happens. Yes. Oh, it's a mandatory settlement conference. Settle at possession. You ain't gonna get anything else anyway. If you can get them out with just possession, hit the easy button. That's my opinion, not my advice. We're not seeing them issue money judgments right now at all. We're seeing them only issue judgments for possession. So telling you that up front, I'm telling you, stop chasing the money. You may get your judgment faster. Just a thought. Okay, guys, I am burning up out here. It is on fire. And I feel really weird. The things I do for my people. Anybody have any questions? Okay, here's another one. Oh, you guys have no idea. Wait till you see me next. Actually, I think I'm going to have to cancel next week because I'll be on an airplane. So I don't think we're going to have a Wednesday with Widget next week. I'm being very forthcoming with you. Unless I do it on Tuesday, which is a possibility. So we may do Wednesdays with Widget on Tuesday next week, or we may do it on Thursday, but I cannot do it on Wednesday, you guys. I will be somewhere at 30,000 feet between here and Texas. If a tenant's claimed he is disabled now, how do I know? He told you he's disabled. Go with that. And I don't know what the disability has to do with. Are you talking about City of LA for the relocation fees? If he says he's I'll tell you this right now. When they go to court, they ask them, do you have minor children under 18 living with you? No. Are you over the age of 55 or whatever the age number is? I think it's 62 for HDICLA. I'd have to look it up. It's either 55 or 62, and I want to say it's 55. It is 55. And then they'll ask them, are you disabled? All they have to do is say yes. If they say yes, they qualify for the higher amount. I mean, we're talking about a difference that's about $8,000 to $10,000 that you have to pay. And here's the thing, they could just say they're disabled. They don't have to prove it. Ouch. Ouch, ouch. They don't have to prove it. Good God, you guys. I'm sorry. It must be hot out here. It's so hot. It's so hot where I am. All right. Anybody have any other questions? Because I am going to do this one short. And I'll tell you what, I'll do a Wednesdays with Widget, but we're going to do it on Thursday next week. Just because I'll be flying on Wednesday. I know, poor planning on my part. I'm sorry. It'll be the second Wednesdays with Widget I have missed since COVID happened. So come on, give me a break. I get to miss one every once in a while, right? Please.
Patty, I have a question.
All right. Anybody have anything else for me, or I'm going to end this today? Here we go. If not disabled and rent is, hold on. If they're not disabled and the rent's $2,300 a month, how much is relocation? In the city of LA, it's about $10,000 to $12,000. If they say that they're disabled and all they have to do is say, I'm disabled, they don't have to explain where, who, why, what, when, nothing. They just say they're disabled. If they're disabled, they have minor children, or they're over age 55, they get about $22,000 versus $12,000. And they all know it. And that is just for the city of LA, city of Los Angeles. That doesn't apply for the statewide rent control, which is comparable to 1 month's rent. Anybody have anything else for me? Okay, here we go. Hi, Val. I want to ask you something, but I can't right now because there's lots of people on here and I don't want to embarrass myself. What notice do I give a tenant to sell the house? You don't. You don't give a notice to the tenant that you want to sell the house. You're going to give them 24-hour notice to show it to prospective purchasers. They're going to get a 30-day notice to vacate once you have an open escrow. Either that or you're paying them cash for keys to go because you want to sell it. So at this point, You want to put a for sale sign? Go put a for sale sign. That's how that works. We're listing the house for sale. A sign will be coming up in the next couple of days. Just wanted to let you sit in purchasing. The house is so junky, no one would buy it. We just want to put up a sign. I love you. You're so funny. Put up the sign. You have every right to. If it's a condo or something in an HOA, please be aware that you may have restrictions on what size sign, what kind of sign, how the sign works. So pay attention to that. But other than that, you should be fine, Val. Anybody have anything else? I really am dying in the heat. Okay, hold on. I see Teresa said something, so let's see if I can find it. Relocation fees applies to what? Eviction only or asking them to move if no rent? Relocation fees apply statewide when you terminate tenancy without cause in rent-controlled areas, period. So when you terminate tenancy without cause. So example, eviction, you don't have to pay relocation fees because you're evicting them. They did something wrong. They violated the lease contract. When you have to pay relocation fees is when you want your house back at no fault of the tenant. In other words, I want to move back in, relocation fees. I want my house back, relocation fees. Okay? The tenant does something wrong and you're evicting them, you don't pay relocation fees. It's not how that works. This is when the landlord says, hey, I want my house back. I want you to get out. I don't like you. Whatever the reason is, you don't have to tell them pre-COVID, but that's when you would have to pay relocation fees. Statewide rent control requires that you pay that if the tenants have lived in the property for longer than 1 year and you're susceptible to AB 3088. No. I gave you the wrong number. I misspoke. I apologize. AB 3088 was the second round of COVID assembly bill. AB 1482 is statewide rent control. See what I mean? How do I keep all these straight? It's crazy, right? So 1482 is California statewide rent control, and that has to do with how you hold title, how many units are on a property, and it covers the entire state of California. So you need to know if you're susceptible to the statewide rent control initiative, because if you're not susceptible to it, you want to disclose to the tenants when you re-rent the property every time that you're exempt. Otherwise, if you don't disclose that you're exempt, guess what? You have rent control. You're guilty by not disclosing that you're exempt. Ouch. All right, anybody have anything else? Because I seriously am going to get out of the sun. I am on fire today. Single family residents, you just want to scare them away, put up the sign for sale. Serve a 24-hour notice and have a broker go in and have a look at it and tell you what it needs to be fixed. And when it's destroyed to all get up, serve them the 3-day curable breach of covenant to bring that property back up because they've made modifications, done damages, and they're not keeping the unit clean. Get in there. Put your eyes in there. Take lots of pictures. Lots. Stand back in the corner of the room and take a picture. Okay, Arlene, hang on. If a tenant renting a condo in West Hollywood lease ends August 15th and want to sell, how much notice do we need to pay if she's disabled? Do anything on August 15th. She's protected until September 30th. You cannot terminate tenancy because the end of their lease is there. You can thank COVID for that. If you want to list it for sale right now. And credit the buyer $5,000 at the close of escrow in the event the tenant doesn't vacate. Absolutely. Who's asking me? Not damaged. Piles of clothes. Okay, well, they have to keep their unit clean, right? It says so in their rental contract. So they have piles of clothes. That's unacceptable. If the kids are drawing on the walls, that is damage. That is a 3-day curable breach of covenant. Liquor is legal in California, but if it's empty liquor bottles and they have trash everywhere, then that's trash and debris. Empty liquor bottles is trash, so look at it as trash. And it's creating a nuisance by attracting flies. So get them on trash and debris, get them on cleanliness. You guys want to know the most common mistakes tenants make? I keep looking around because I feel like I'm doing something bad today. So most common mistakes tenants make is they make modifications to the property without written consent of the landlord, which is usually a material breach of the written rental contract. With that being said, okay, the material breaches we find most common, and we all do it. We're all guilty. We're all guilty. We change the locks as soon as we move in. Why? Because we don't know who has a key. We do that when we buy a house. Tenants can't do that. That's a modification to the property without written consent of the landlord. It's illegal. Okay, so there's number one where you get them. Number two, where you're most likely to get them, is they installed a Ring doorbell. Again, a modification to the property without written consent of the landlord. Number three, where you get them, is they usually install a flat screen TV. Don't mean to get into real estate rules for you, but once something becomes affixed to the foundation, it becomes real property, not personal property. So that mount that they mounted to mount that TV to is a modification to the property without written consent of the landlord. And number four is painting. Painting happens quite a bit. They paint, they don't ask, and we got to pay to paint it back. So if you're digging up reasons to build a case on a nuisance, those are the top 4 or 5 I look for. Did they change the locks? Did they mount a flat screen TV? Did they install a Ring doorbell system? These are all, boom, material breach, material breach. I mean, it's just like whammo, whammo, whammo. So that's where your teeth are. And for the most part, we all have that going on in our units. Remember, stop chasing the money. It isn't due yet. It's not due until September 30th. All the rents from the whole pandemic period are not due until September 30th. If you need the money, go get it from the government, because you're going to have a much easier chance getting it from the government than you are from your tenant. Just saying. And it's not easy to get money out of the government. So you know what I'm saying. We have people still joining us. I can't even let them in. I'm trying, you guys. I'm trying. What does that say? Cancel. There we go. Okay, got it. All right. Does anybody have any more questions for me? Okay, here comes some more, because I'm like, I'm going to get out of here. I'm on fire. When is the earliest we can serve them a notice to terminate? It depends on what county you're in. There's a moratorium, just so you guys know, for LA County, and there is also a moratorium for City of Los Angeles. So terminating tenancy without cause in LA County, you guys are looking at April Fool's Day. That's 6 months after the protected period is ended. If this ends like it's supposed to, and we go back to business as normal on October 1st, we all have to wait till April Fool's Day before we raise the rents or tell our tenants to get out, or it could be considered retaliatory. Also, LA County added a moratorium that adds 6 months of additional protections to the tenants. Okay, LA City added 12 months, and County of San Diego added 6 months as well. So your saving grace is April Fool's Day. I know it sounds ridiculous, because God knows we've been fooled for this for 16 months, you guys, but hey, it is what it is. When is the earliest we can serve a termination notice in San Diego and it not be considered retaliatory? April Fool's Day, 2022. Ouch. Anybody have anything else? Otherwise, I strongly suggest that you rewatch this. You guys all need to know that you have to serve notice to your tenant by the end of this month, by the end of July. That's just in a couple days here. So we need to get our ducks in a row, make sure we're disclosing AB 832 to them and notifying them of their rights. It makes it impossible for us to evict or collect the money if we failed to disclose to them what the rules were. Teresa, the notice that you need to serve is tenant rights in regards to Assembly Bill 832. telling them that the tenant protection COVID protected period for the state of California has been extended until September 30th, and we don't go back to normal until August 31st. The first time you can serve for small claims isn't going to be till November 1st of this year. So remember when, go back to when COVID first started and AB 3088 came out. Yeah, I keep confusing that with 1482, and 1482 is statewide rent control. So go back to that one. We had to disclose to the tenants what their rights were by a date. Okay, and then came Senate Bill 91. We had to do the same thing. Well, here comes Assembly Bill 832, and guess what? We're doing this again, folks. We're doing it again. So we have to disclose to our tenants by the last day of this month, or we're not going to be able to evict going forward for the protected period. Where do I get a form from AOA USA? What notice to serve? Yes, my website has a Zoom. In order to rewatch, you need to be a paid client. And we're about ready to change a whole bunch of things with our structure and offer classes and training also. I would serve the notice just to cover your butt, Val, and that's just me talking. If they're paying religiously, they're not going to stop now, okay? An honest tenant that's been paying you throughout the pandemic is not going to stop paying you just because you notified them what their rights are. They still know that they owe that money, okay? So don't be afraid to serve it if they're not delinquent and think that that's going to make them delinquent. We're not seeing that. For the most part, tenants are being very forthcoming with their housing because they need to be. It's where they live. They don't want to mess that up. So the ones that are not exercising their rights, they're on that track of, no, I'm paying for my housing. We want to hold on to them. All right, you guys, I'm calling this a day because I can see my grandson standing up at the table inside the restaurant. I'm thinking, I need to go eat my lunch and I got to get out of this heat. So you guys have a great day. You guys know how to hunt me down. I will be at altitude for the rest of the day today, but I am available all day tomorrow and later this afternoon if you really need something. Okay, you guys have, I will. I'm going fishing. I'm going fishing. I need some widget time. Okay. All right, you guys have a great week. If you need me, you know how to find me. If you need me today, please know that I will not get back to you until later this evening. I am going to altitude where there is no cell service. Oh, thank you, you guys. I couldn't do this without you. I really appreciate it. And don't be surprised if you see more of me involved with AGLA here in a very rapid fashion. It looks like we're going to be doing some merging. So yay, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. All right, everybody, you guys have a wonderful day. Here comes the breeze. It feels wonderful. It's time to go fishing. All right, bye guys. Have a good one. I'll see you next week, but please remember, we're going to do it on Thursday next week, not on Wednesday. Oh, thank you, you guys. Oh, thank you. You guys are all awesome. All right, you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next week on Thursday because I'm in the air on Wednesday. We'll talk soon. Bye.